my name's Ashley Wylde and welcome to my channel, Ashley's Wild Life. Today I'm gonna do a video called the gender tag. The gender tag is something that I came up with when I realized that I wanted more conversation around gender, gender expression, and gender experience in my life. I decided to come up with a tag, a set of 10 questions that anyone can answer. And my hope was that the gender tag would spark conversation about gender so that we can all kind of understand each other better. If you want to know more about the gender tag project in general, I have a link below in the description where you can check that out. And if you want to make your own gender tag video, I have the questions written out also in the description below. Also, if you don't understand any of the words that I use in the questions, make sure you check out the explanation video because that's really going to be where those definitions can be found. Keep in mind that all of these questions are challenged by choice. Take what you want, leave what you want, add what you want, remove what you want. The purpose of the video is to talk about your experience with gender. So if something is on the question list that you just don't feel is important, skip it. This is about you. All right, let's get the ball rolling. Question 1. How do you self-identify your gender and what does that definition mean to you? I self-identify as genderqueer, or more generally as non-binary. What that definition means to me is that my internal experience of gender in my head, it doesn't match what I understand to be the experience of feeling like a woman, and it doesn't match what I understand to be the experience of feeling like a man. So I don't feel like that either of those binary genders really apply to me, and non-binary is the way that I identify. Question 2, what pronouns honor you? I am honored by the pronouns she, her, and hers, and the main reason that I go with those is that those are the pronouns that have always been used with me, and I don't feel a strong draw away from them. Pronouns for me aren't particularly problematic, but those are the ones that I prefer. Question 3, describe the style of clothing that you most often wear. I most often wear men's clothes from the men's section of stores. I like skinny jeans. I like shorts that don't go above the knee by very much. I like crew neck collars. I don't really like anything that cuts down. I would describe my style as masculine, but lately I've been kind of wanting to play with it a little more. I've been interested in like wearing leggings or wearing a little bit more, you know, cutely cut tops and just kind of experimenting with androgyny and gender bending. So having elements of both masculine and feminine gender expression in my outfits because, I don't know, I think it can be fun and because it's not done widely, and so it gives me a lot of room for creativity, which I super enjoy. Question 4, talk about your choices with body hair. How do you style your hair? Do you have facial hair? What do you choose to shave or choose not to shave? Obviously I have short hair. I cut my hair short in 2011, 4 years ago, and I haven't really looked back since then. I definitely prefer it short. With shaving, I don't shave my legs. I haven't shaved my legs consistently since junior year of high school, so at this point I'm it doesn't bother me anymore, but it was definitely an adjustment period. My armpits and I have an interesting relationship. There was a period of time where I stopped shaving them, but then I had to be in a swimsuit around other people and it made me uncomfortable. And then I was like, Ashley, challenge that, you know, the patriarchy, don't let the man get you down, but I still shaved them again. So I'm in the process of negotiating that. I don't really know how I feel about my armpits, to be honest. Question 5, talk about cosmetics. Do you choose to wear makeup? Do you paint your nails? What types of soaps and perfumes do you use, if any? I very rarely wear makeup. When I do, it's just a little touch of mascara, and lately it's like once every 6 months, whereas it used to be more like once a week. I'm definitely moving away from that. I have painted my nails, but I don't like to. I actually just super like the way that nails look by themselves. I think if it was up to me, I would probably just buy the body wash that costs like $1 at the grocery store, but my mom always gives me body wash on like Easter and Christmas and like pretty much every opportunity. So since my senior year of high school, I have never run out of Axe body wash because my mom's always giving me more before I actually run out. As for perfume, I wear cologne. I wear Polo Black by Ralph Lauren. I've been wearing that one since as long as I can remember, and you know, that works for me, so I'm not changing it. Question 6. Have you experienced being misgendered? If so, how often? People are always surprised when I answer this question with every single day. I mean it. If I leave my house, I am misgendered. It might be in a fast food restaurant or in a park or when you're passing someone in a hallway and they just say, "Excuse me, bud." I've gotten away from letting it bother me, but I do talk about being misgendered at length in my video, "Is that a girl or a boy?" which I'll place a link down below. Question 7. Do you experience dysphoria? How does that affect you? I used to answer no to this question, which I think is actually really interesting. But recently I came upon this paragraph of information on a website called nonbinary.org, and the paragraph really reframed dysphoria for me. Some non-binary people experience bodily dysphoria relating to certain primary or secondary sexual characteristics. The act of obscuring, removing, or replacing these sexual characteristics in order to reduce gender dysphoria may result in physical androgyny without the individual having set out to specifically obtain an androgynous presentation. That really stuck with me because I have always said that the reason I am androgynous is because I just am trying to express myself, and that is how it comes out. And when I really think about it, things like not wanting to wear form-fitting shirts come from a place of not liking the shape of my hips. And things like only wearing sports bras instead of regular cupped bras come from a place of wanting to obscure the fact that I have breasts. When I look back at when I first started dressing in a more masculine way, I realized that that was the impetus, that it was about obscuring parts of my body from public view that I wasn't particularly comfortable with. I've been doing a lot of unpacking in that realm, and for me, those are parts of my body that I'm becoming more comfortable with, but it's still on a personal level. I still don't want to share those parts of myself with anyone that I'm not intimate with. In other words, I still want to have a public display of my physical representation while being comfortable with what my body actually looks like underneath. And that's something that I'm working through right now. That's something that I'm still unpacking. Question 8. Talk about children. Are you interested in having children? Would you want to carry a child if that were an option for you? Do you want to be the primary caretaker for any children you may have? Children are one of the most important things for me in my life. They're one of my biggest goals. I desperately want to be a parent. As far as the things that traditionally fall under being a parent, none of them are really important to me. What's important to me is the ability to raise a child and to nurture and love a child as they grow into maturity. I don't really care if I carry the child or not. I'm not particularly interested in carrying a child. And I think that the raising of a child, the family, might look different than what people are used to for me. I'm open to adoption. I'm interested in things like surrogacy, but I don't necessarily have a need to pass on my own genes. Children, absolutely. The rest of it, we'll see, I guess. Question 9. Talk about money. Is it important to you to provide for a family financially if you choose to have one? Is it important to you that you earn more than any partner you may have? Do you prefer to pay for things like dates? Are you uncomfortable when others pay for you or offer to pay for you? Financially, I am interested in being in a household where all adults are contributing to the financial situation. I don't care at all if I would make more or less than anyone I was involved with. What I care about is that everyone is expected to contribute. I'm not uncomfortable with people paying for me, but sometimes I can start to get uncomfortable if I think that someone is paying for me out of pity or out of obligation. If someone wants to pay for me as a gesture to be nice because they want to, that's awesome. But if their motivations aren't as clear, sometimes I can get a little iffy about that. And I like to pay for dates, but I'm equally comfortable splitting them or having the other person pay. And lastly, question 10. Anything else you want to share about your experience with gender? The main thing I want to share about my experience with gender is that it's always changing. If I had made this exact video a year ago, it would have been different. Like I said, I just discovered that paragraph of information about dysphoria last week. That's something that I'm really thinking through only now. My experience with gender is ever evolving, and it might be true that none of this information will be relevant for me a year from now. That's what I want to express. I'm interested in gender and the experience of a gendered life because I know from my personal experience how widely varied it can be even within one person. And I'm really eager to see how varied it can be among people of all kinds. I'd like to remind you that you do not have to be queer or straight or cis or trans or male or female or non-binary or white or black or any other kind of person to make a video talking about your experience of gender. I want to hear from people and how they experience gender as an intersection with all of their other identities. So if you want to talk about your gender, do it. It's not qualified by any other identity that you may or may not hold. I absolutely cannot wait to see all of the amazing videos that I hope will come from this. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.